His Holiness Dalai Lama the 14th has announced a committee to name the successor. He also explicitly mentions that China has nothing to do in this mission of naming the successor of Dalai Lama. What is the link between Dalai Lama, China and India? Let us decode in this video. Who is Dalai Lama? His Holiness Dalai Lama is actually a religious position. He is the leader of Vajrayana Buddhism, which is based in Tibet. Based on Tibetan culture and Tibetan procedures, the existing Dalai Lama will choose the upcoming Dalai Lama and he will choose a procedure to name the successor when he is leaving. It is based on the Tibetan culture and Vajrayana Buddhist practices. Why he explicitly mentioned that China has nothing to do with naming the successor? Because it has got its roots in Tibet annexation of China way back in 1951. In 1951, China has annexed Tibet into its own country. Tibet was an independent country largely based out of Buddhism and Buddhist religious practices, and the same which were spilling into the political arena also. In order to convince Tibetans to be Chinese or a part of China, China started appeasing to them that they accept their Vajrayana Buddhism, their practices and everything. However, during the annexation of Tibet, His Holiness Dalai Lama the 14th, the current Dalai Lama, has escaped death by entering into India through Bamla Pass near Tawang. India gave political asylum to Dalai Lama and also the Tibetan government in exile, which is being run from Himachal Pradesh, Dharmashala since 1953. This is the story behind Tibet annexation and Dalai Lama's link to it. What has it got to do with China and its claims on Tawang? Tawang is a part of Arunachal Pradesh state in India, but China claims that Tawang is southern Tibet and is part of Tibet and eventually part of China. Why does China lay a claim on Tawang? The answer to this question lies in this question of Dalai Lama. So it is believed that the next Dalai Lama will be born in the region of Tawang. So if the next Dalai Lama, the religious leader of Buddhists staying in Tibet, is born in a region that is not in China, it would be a very disastrous situation for China to convince Tibetans that they are part of China. Hence, China started laying claims on Tawang, saying that it is nothing but southern Tibet and it is part of China. It is the reason that whenever religious leaders or Indian leaders visit Tawang, China launches a diplomatic protest saying that they have entered into territory of China. And it also imprints the map of China, including Tawang, on its visas. This is what China keeps doing to assert that Tawang is part of Tibet and eventually part of China. The question behind it is in this religious traditional practice of choosing a leader called Dalai Lama, His Holiness Dalai Lama, and who will be the religious and also political leader for Tibetans. The Tibetan government in exile, which is being run from Dharmashala, Himachal Pradesh since 1953, was led by the current Dalai Lama only. So the political and religious lines culminate in Tibet in this aspect. Hence, this religious aspect needs to be taken leverage by China to politically lure or to politically gain the confidence of Tibetans currently who are under Chinese rule. Hence, this question of Tawang, the Dalai Lama and the territorial dispute with India also acts as a second line of protection for China, because there is already Aksai Chin in the western sector in terms of borders with India and China. The western sector Aksai Chin is already under Chinese control and China lays claim on Tawang, that is eastern sector. So it is a two-pronged approach in laying claims on two territories in two different sectors based out of two different narratives or stories. So in case of any negotiation or any diplomacy or diplomatic channels that kick in at that time, there will only be an option of choose one or lose both kind of situation. This is the leverage that China wants to take with respect to Tawang. And with respect to choosing the next Dalai Lama or gaining the confidence of Tibetans lies in gaining the confidence of the current Dalai Lama and also the upcoming Dalai Lama. This is the political and religious story of Tibet, India and China.